Hey there, y'all. Thank you for joining. We'll get started here in just about another minute or two. Thank you all so much for joining this morning, afternoon, evening, whichever parts of the world you're in. I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to come and sit with me for a good 20, 30 minutes to learn a little bit about the Microsoft Leap Apprenticeship Program and some of the things that we're doing out in the continent of Africa, specifically in South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Rwanda, just to so that we can help people get and start their careers into the technology industry. So, with that, before we get started on what the Microsoft Leap Apprenticeship Program is, I just want to take a few extra moments to thank you all for coming in. Thank you for lending your time and your ears. The Microsoft Leap Apprenticeship Program is really focused on getting our historically excluded, our underrepresented constituents and talent pools into the tech industry in order to help provide a different life and a better life for themselves, but also for their families and communities. So with that, I'll start off by giving a little bit of a journey of my story, and then from there we can talk about how we can facilitate some introduction so that we can get you all into the Microsoft ecosystem. So, as I mentioned earlier, the Microsoft Leap Apprenticeship Program is really geared towards getting our unconventional talent. So, people that may not have gone to university for a computer science role or to be an engineer, but folks that may have been a barista or a waiter or a bus driver or a project manager or a logistics specialist into a career in technology. Me personally, I started my career consulting, so completely different in the financial sector. So not even working with tech like hard or new technology at all. But then the fintech revolution started to come, and my interest in technology increased, increased 10, 20 fold because it was this system that was changing how finance worked, but also it was rooted in technology and democratization of the ability to do so. So with that, I ended up learning some things on YouTube, using Reddit, taking some courses on LinkedIn Learning and Udemy in order to really hone in on some of those skills to understand what I didn't know, and also to position myself for a career in technology, even though I didn't know how or why a technology company would pick someone with zero experience. So I personally have a lot of affinity towards the Microsoft Leap Apprenticeship Program due to that fact and in how it coalesces with how my heart and my story is has progressed itself throughout my career. But in addition to that, the lead program I feel provides that same sort of opportunity for others. So with that, let's talk about the lead program for a second. So we'll find some ways. We'll go over a high level, the history of the program, what the program's aiming for, and in addition to that, we're also going to figure out how is it that we can get some folks in there. And then lastly, but not least, I would love to answer some of your questions. So feel free, use the chat functionality to send those over, and I'll be sure to answer as many as I can by leaving as much time as possible at the end of this. So with that, what is the Microsoft Lead Program? The Microsoft Lead Program is an augmented recruiting pipeline for to in order to get people that are historically excluded or underrepresented into the technology ecosystem. And the reason that the program exists is really to help Microsoft and technology abroad live the Microsoft mission, which is to empower every person in every organization on the planet to achieve more. And we can't have every person, every organization without every thought discipline, without people from different backgrounds that may not necessarily have the same sort of schooling or come from the same school. But we really need to figure out how to get everybody. And in some ways that we've done that in the past to really plant those seeds is I want to allude to a project that we worked on with Kenya, the Department of Agriculture. When we were there, we launched a hackathon in order to get young women and girls interested in the technology industry by allowing and by providing opportunity for them to use technology and to work alongside of some of the Microsoft technologists in the area to find a solution to get water to their areas in which they live. And this project was in conjunction with the Department of Agriculture, and it was really not just to spur interest, but also to find a tangible solution to your problem that we're having. So that and that genesis is really the purpose of the program, is because if we can empower young women and girls and folks that live in the community to achieve more, to solve real issues they have, then we can bring more folks along to the table. In addition to this, what is the Microsoft Lead programs, right? So I mentioned before that it was an augmented pipeline to get folks into the technology industry, but really, like to the root of it, it is a global apprenticeship program designed to accelerate careers for job readiness. So with that, we say global because we are not only in Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, as I mentioned before, but we're also in the United States, Australia, New Zealand, India, Bangladesh, uh, as well as Bulgaria. So we're constantly expanding and trying to again get every person, every organization to achieve more, and we really want to get that diversity of thought in order to do so. Now, how is it that the Microsoft Lead program is different from any other apprenticeship program or job training? Or how is it that we're going to prove that this program works in the way that we say that it does? And we really have three pillars here. We like to look at our leapers' professional skills, providing them with a transformative experience, and then nesting them within a community and network so that when it comes time to building, to creating, to launching or going live or spreading wings beyond the Microsoft ecosystem, there's a large community to reach into. Now, in terms of some of these professional skills, during the LEAP apprenticeship, we provide our LEAPers not only with a team to work on where they'll be completing tasks, but we also sit them alongside of some of the best and brightest to do it. And we give our LEAPers real world projects. So for instance, one of our LEAPers worked on a Microsoft Outlook feature for the schedule assist so that individuals can send their calendar to external parties without having to delegate interest into their entire Outlook calendar. Now, that sounds like a tall order and a big task, but due to having not only the leaper there with the skills that they had, but also having someone there to coach through to ask those questions to help our leapers get unstuck, we found that these are the ways that our program kind of differentiates itself from others by providing that extra toolage. In addition to this, another piece that we really want to harp on is to make sure that all of our leapers have a mentor, a coach, and a buddy. So these three things may seem like they are the same or they are all similar, but the genesis and the function of each one of these people is different. As I mentioned earlier, we set our leapers with the best and brightest to do it. So that person would be their coach. That person is working within the same front end or back end or same discipline in order to make sure that the leaper can get unstuck. But in addition to this person, we also provide them with a mentor. And now this person may not be a software engineer if our leaper is a software engineer. Maybe this person is a business program manager so that we can really understand how is it that our part and our piece and what we have to do for this project is going to fit inside of the whole and the entire ecosystem. And how is it that maybe the sales team or maybe an implementation team is going to take this to market. And then the last person that we put our leaper with is a buddy. And this buddy is someone that is closer to the experience that our leapers have. So maybe they come from the same leap disciplines. Maybe it's someone that is that was requested for by our leaper. So maybe our leaper requested to additionally have a female buddy in order to have some of those conversations. And really the reason that we try to help our leapers get a buddy that is someone that they feel comfortable with is so that whenever we get to those instances where the person feels stuck or feels like they need to ask a hard or confidential question, but don't really want to ask it of someone that is in their like hierarchical chain, they have this person here to help them. And the third piece to kind of draw to that is not only do they have their buddy, their mentor, and their coach to help them, but they have a community and a network of 600 plus leapers that have graduated the program that are now in their careers in technology. Now, with that, we have leapers that are within the Microsoft organization. And so over the last 6 years of the Microsoft Leap Apprenticeship program, we've seen that 69% of our leapers go on to a career with Microsoft. However, we also have the ability and the privilege to have people outside of the Microsoft network so that we also can learn from them and find other ways to do things. So I mentioned that 69% of our leapers go on into a career with Microsoft, but 98% of our leapers work within technology as a whole. So we're finding that we're bringing folks along into the journey and into the industry. But in addition to this, we're also providing folks a network to leverage to find their next step. Now, just to use that to jump into our model and timeline, and who is it that we're looking for? The LEAP program is really looking for those non-traditional, historically excluded folks. So people that maybe want to relaunch their career or change from working in project management to software engineering, or maybe going from a financial sector project management to a technical role and really trying to understand that how does technology and how does an agile waterfall or agile project management style work versus a waterfall style. And then in addition to that, we're really looking for some of those folks that are just self-taught, that found some PMI courses online, went through the PMBOK and just wanted to get a CAPM or a PMP, and they have willed their ways into a career within project management, but now they want to take that willing and project management interest and translate it into a career in technology. With that, we also have a few different models for our LEAP apprenticeship program. So we have an external apprenticeship program where we'll bring some of our leapers in to make sure we provide that upskilling, that training, getting folks familiar with the C#, C++ languages. But then we also have an internal apprenticeship that I alluded to before, where we'll have our leapers sit next to some of our teams developing products and roles and systems for the Microsoft ecosystem. And thirdly, we also use some of our leapers and give some of our leapers that ability to work for other organizations while they have learned and upskilled from the Microsoft system as well. So that would be along the lines of the work that we did with the Department of Agriculture in Kenya. In addition to that, we have many pathways available to our leapers as well. So as I know that we have a lot of project managers, and this is the audience, right? We do also provide the opportunity for some of our technical or business program managers to move into a data analytics field or software engineering, UX design. As a former PM, I always gravitated towards telling my story with data. So even now in my current position, whenever I'm looking to make a new move or pitch an idea, I rely back on some of those PMI skills of building and telling your story, leading with data, telling your story, and then painting a full picture. while relying and leveraging our software support teams or our software engineers uh, to provide a little bit more insight on what the business would be looking for. From there, let's think about some of the timeline, the model of this apprenticeship. The Right now, we're currently looking for, in addition to our software engineers, our technical program managers, and business program managers, we're looking for people that have experience with cloud architecture. So we're inviting the gamut to interview for the program and apply for the program. But in addition to that, we really want to make sure that everyone is up to speed. So when I say up to speed, you may have been a self-taught or trying to relaunch into a career, but we want to make sure that before you get onto your team or working with your partner, that you have some additional training, you feel comfortable. So in order for the LEAP program to work, we incorporate 4 weeks of a paid classroom training. And during this training, we're really just moving from, hey, this is what your waterfall logic is like. This is how we use an agile logic, or this is our agile methodology, and this is how we run scrums with Microsoft. Or even if you're going to transition from a PM role to more of a technical role, we use that 4 weeks of time to get folks up to speed on what is object-oriented programming and what is the difference between a TypeScript and a JavaScript. But from there, we really like to roll our apprentices on to 12 weeks of a paid intern apprenticeship, where during this 12 weeks, as I mentioned before, you're sitting next to the best and brightest to do it. So you're having that chance to work with your mentor, buddy, coach, your team to move towards an objective to get a project done. Now, I mentioned earlier that there's a 69% conversion rate for our leapers going on to a full-time role at Microsoft, and one may ask, like, how is that the case? And that's because at the end of the 16 weeks, we do have our leapers interview for roles on the team, and this is because we really want to make sure that the teams and the leapers have a great fit, and that fit is based on that interpersonal interaction. We have a high efficacy internally with people knowing that we can provide the skills, but also we want to make sure that the relationship is mutual. From there, just want to give a little bit of context from one of our former leapers. One of our leapers spent years working as a marketer and then went into a UX design role. So one could see how the transferable skills from marketing to UX design, where we're talking about placement within a slide or within a deck or a website, and then how is it that you're going to ensure that you're attracting the end user to the most critical information within a page or within a design. So we're really looking for folks that are trying to transform, pivot their careers, but also in addition to that, we're looking for folks that just want to upskill or want to figure out how to do something a little different. Now, with that, as I mentioned before, I want to leave a lot of time for question and answers. And I see that we have a few questions rolling through the chat here. So as I mentioned, before getting to those, I would like to draw your attention to our social media platform. So if you have additional questions that we're not going to have the time to get to today, please send us an email directly at leapinfo@microsoft.com. But in addition to that, follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. LinkedIn is where you'll get the most up-to-date information. We're constantly posting, reminding people about our application windows, best practices for interviewing at Microsoft, or how is it that you can, or if we have a bit within our ecosystem. I know that our global talent acquisition team runs a lot of, this is what a cover letter or a resume or how to fix your GitHub. Those kind of events, we have those and we promote those via LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. But again, if I don't get to your question today, I'm going to try and get to as many as I possibly can. Please email us directly at leapinfo@microsoft.com. So with that, I am going to turn over to our questions. And one of the first questions that I see here is, how is it that you joined the LEAP program? So the LEAP program, we are running cohorts all throughout the year, and these cohorts are going to be announced on LinkedIn. But how do you join? You can go to Microsoft.com/leap, and with that website, you'll be able to find the schedule of upcoming cohorts. You'll find the application portal. You can also find some tips and tricks to get yourself prepared for the interview, the application phase. What is it that we're looking for from a leaper? And then more details about the pathway. There's another question that came through the chat of, what are the results of the Kenya Ministry of Agriculture partnership targeting girls that was mentioned, please? Could you possibly link us? It sounds like it's down our alley. I can definitely send over a link to that. So we had a few results here. We had, I think, 60 participants within that hackathon system, and they were split on to teams of 4 with an additional Microsoft employee or mentor to help coach through some of the solutions. So what the problem statement was really based in trying to figure out how is it that we can divert a river to a village, and then how is it that in addition to diverting a part of the river, we also keep the river's health. And the reason that we have some of our Microsoft folks in there is because we try to do some statistical modeling to see like the past ebbs and flows of the river, so high point, low point, and then the impacts of temperature, climate, and weather, and then upstream. I mean, you only can prepare for so many up and downstream things, meaning like human interaction, human intervention. But in addition to that, we really wanted to make sure that we showed how is it that you can use data, how do you use statistical modeling, but from there, how is it you can derive impact? So from that, the team that ended up winning devised an aqueduct-like system that not only fed water to the town, but also recycled water back from the town through an irrigation stream using like charcoal, I believe. I can definitely send over the larger case study there, and then that can be leveraged. And thank you. I have your email as well, so I'll definitely make a note of that. Another question that's come in is the program country specific at the moment, or can people join from a country like South Africa? At the moment, we are a little country specific. We really just ask for our leapers to work within the country that we're hosting an apprenticeship. So as I mentioned earlier, we do have South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria that are coming that are going to go live by the end of the year. In addition to that, we are looking to launch across more so across the continent for the apprenticeship. However, we are always looking for new places, new countries, new avenues. So if you do have an appetite or want or express interest to join the program, please shoot us an email, shoot us a message on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Like, let that be known. Have people co-sign your opinion so that not only we can drive the business from the inside, but we can also go to our partners internally and say, hey, this is our data that says we need to have a cohort here because this is how many people that we have asking for this on a cyclical basis. So I see another question in the chat. What is the process for joining the LEAP program? So that process is pretty straightforward, I would say. As the LEAP program is geared to serving unconventional talent and people that have been historically excluded, we're not looking for a huge body of work on a GitHub, or we're not looking for 7 or 10 years of experience doing something. What we're really looking for are your personal passions, what drives you towards technology. 7 key phrases or things to kind of consider is like, what is your grit level? how have you persevered? How have you been innovative to find a solution to a problem or use technology to find that solution? Um, how is it that how is it that the Leap Apprenticeship can impact you or your family or community positively? And as I mentioned earlier, we're not looking for that wide breadth of experience. Our application process consists of send over your LinkedIn or a portfolio, a digital portfolio of sorts. And in addition to that, we have 2 essay questions that really are surrounding passion and why technology. So as we look for more questions for the chat and how we're really trying to attract folks to the program, really want to leave y'all with a few things. We're looking for leapers of all ages. One thing that we're asking for is have some sort of work experience doing something, whether that's like being an entrepreneur within your town, being working within another organization, doing some volunteer work, building something either digitally or otherwise, working through a process. We're looking for that sort of tutelage. But the other thing we're looking for is we're looking for all of our leapers to bring their full and authentic selves, their experience, their background, what they learned, what draws them to technology. Bring that to your application, to your interview, to your express interest in the LEAP program in a career in technology. And from there, what we'll do is we're going to try to fit as many people in as we can. We run we run cohorts year round. We're always looking for more applicants. We're always looking for more sponsors. So as I mentioned earlier, make it known that you want a cohort, whether it's in Cote d'Ivoire or West Africa, like just make it known, send us an email, comment on LinkedIn, tweet at us, bring us there. And if there's anything that I can do to help, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I am always available. I can definitely help, whether it's just trying to talk through some things or just figuring out what's next. I want to leave, if I don't see any other questions coming in the last few seconds here, I just want to leave y'all with a few things. And those are, Microsoft is here for everyone. We're trying to bring as many folks into the fold. I joined the organization in January of this year, and I never would have thought that I would have been here just due to like life events. Just never would have seen the day. But really in my interview phase, it was very casual, very, who are you? Who is Shelton? Why does Shelton want to work in technology? What has technology done? And for me, I mentioned earlier that career-wise, like I joined or I found my interest in technology through fintechs. But even beyond that, growing up, I was the kid in my community that was like building computers or finding ways to make CDs to give to my friends. So bringing in and selling that story in my interview, and I think that has been what has been the most impactful for me, and keeping that curiosity, keeping my curiosity up, and just ensuring that I'm there to learn more. And that's the biggest thing we're looking for. We're looking for the eternal learners. Uh, Someone asked for on LinkedIn, so let me bring that to the top of the screen. But with that, I thank you again for joining me and taking some time out of your day to learn more about the program, but also to really just like hear my story. I appreciate you, and I hope that you all have a great rest of your day, evening, afternoons, and looking forward to reading your resumes, your profiles, your essays, and learning more about y'all.